Good afternoon and welcome to Anfield and to our Matchday Live preview in association with Standard Chartered. We are live across Liverpool Football Club's social media platforms. We're on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok and YouTube over the course of the next 10 or 15 minutes or so to look ahead to today's game here against Brentford in the Premier League. David James and Charlie Adam are alongside me, and plenty for the boys to chat about over the course of the next little while. We will focus on the race for Europe and ask whether Liverpool can maybe, just maybe, make Champions League football next season, given the recent run of results. We'll talk about Alisson as he prepares to hit another impressive milestone. Look at the buzz around the Beasts as Brentford's season goes from strength to strength, and of course the lads will try and second-guess Jurgen's starting 11 for this evening's game. Gentlemen, good to have you with me once again. David is awash with Eurovision excitement, and Charlie awash with excitement at Dundee getting promoted, his boyhood club last night. Good to see you both. Well, in terms of Europe then, let's start with that. The picture has changed somewhat, David, in recent weeks. Liverpool's form is excellent, and some of the teams above us have started to stumble ever so slightly, and it maybe, just maybe, opens the door.
Yeah, with regards to Champions League, I think we're going to require a major stumble from either Newcastle or more likely Manchester United. However, the way that Liverpool's set up, the way that Jurgen sets his teams and the way that they want to win every game, they've got to give themselves a chance. It's not unfamiliar territory for Liverpool to be chasing that elusive dream, but as long as they keep the form up, there's always a chance.
It feels like this could be a crucial weekend, doesn't it, Charlie, in regard to that, because Liverpool win here tonight before United play tomorrow at West Ham in the late game. The gap will be just a point, albeit they'll have games in hand, but it's a far different picture going into the game, the pressure they will feel.
Yeah, but we were stood here last weekend against Spurs saying the same thing, and then all of a sudden Manchester United get beat from Brighton. So it's important that you focus on yourself and you win your own match, and then let's see what happens. But Liverpool going for 5 in a row at home, there's a good feel about the place, and hopefully the lads can turn up and get a few goals and put the pressure on everybody else above them.
It's a funny thing as well, football, isn't it? You know, all of a sudden some of the Liverpool boys might have thought in their head, you know what, it's done, boys. Champions League football's not there, let's just win what we can. And when that pressure's off, when you're not focusing on something, sometimes it can make you play better, make things a little bit easier. Maybe that's been the case to a point in recent weeks.
Yeah, you could look at it that way.
You're going to look at it another way, though, aren't you?
No. I'm going to look at it the way that when I was here for the Arsenal game, and it was interesting thinking back at what we were talking about afterwards, because there was a chance, wasn't there, for Konate late on, which could have made the win, but in the end it was a draw. Liverpool's form has completely flipped after that draw against Arsenal, 5 wins in a row. Arsenal's form has completely flipped the opposite way. So you could argue that, yes, the pressure might be off, but the coming back against Arsenal was what actually made them believe that they can win games of football in a strange kind of way.
I don't think this is and I don't doubt that dressing room will be thinking that, oh, the Champions League's gone. They'll always fight to the end until it's mathematically impossible, because this group's been successful. They know what it's like to keep going and being resilient. So I don't think there's any doubt that the Champions League was forgotten about. It's always there, the target was there, because if you get to the end of the season and you fall short because you fell away yourself, then that's your own problem. But if you go and you give it a go and somebody above you was better than you in the end, then at least you had your chances and you've gave it a right go. But the form earlier in the season has obviously been difficult to take.
All you can do is keep winning games. That's what they did in midweek, yeah. David. It wasn't the most convincing performance at times, but a win's a win. And, you know, at this stage of the season, that is the crucial thing.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, and having been a player with that kind of mentality, the weird thing is that a win is a win at any point of the season. Like Charlie said, if you had that mentality at the beginning of the season rather than trying to play good football, I'm not saying Liverpool were compromising themselves, but yeah, just get over the line, win the games. If Mo can score the winner, happy days. As I said though, I think rather than it being the wins in a row which have changed the fortune of this season and given them a glimmer of a hope, I think it was that second half performance against Arsenal that really changed it around. And from there, against a top of the table side, Liverpool now have the confidence to say, do you know what, this is what we should have had 5 weeks prior to that, whatever.
Yeah, you know, it's also a situation where, you know, some people are debating, Charlie, whether the penalty was a little bit fortunate. At the time I thought it was a stick-on penalty, perhaps from a different angle it looks less so. but maybe earlier in the season that kind of thing wasn't going for Liverpool, and maybe things are starting to balance themselves out a little bit with the rub of the green in this closing stage of the season as well.
Listen, you need a little bit of luck, and the decision was there. They made the penalty. I thought it was a penalty, and you know, Mo's obviously had a couple of penalties this year that he's missed, but he stepped up again. He sticks it in the back of the net, and that's important. But and like David's saying, it's about getting over the line. 3 points, doesn't matter how you get it from now, from start of season really. But we all want to play the best way, you know, play a nice football now. But at the moment, it's about winning 3 points and putting pressure on everybody above you.
The final thing to say on the debate over European football, the stats people will tell you that Liverpool have a just over an 8% chance of making it into the top 4 by the end of the season. But who am I to argue with the numbers? In terms of the bigger picture of what we saw in that game, yes, it was a good result. It was also a landmark occasion, well, kind of, for Alisson Becker. His 99th clean sheet for Liverpool in that game. He could hit the century today, David. As someone who's played in that position for this football club, put into context what he's done and what it means for him if he gets to that 100, which he will ultimately. Yeah,
I think it's an amazing achievement. And as we saw in the highlights there, this would be a 100th clean sheet, which he's earned pretty much every one of them. I think back to the beginning of this season, the end of last season, where Alisson was an unsung hero quite often, allowing Liverpool, giving them a platform with big saves to go on and win games by 1 or 2-0. I love him. Yeah, I love him.
You played in front of a Liverpool team that was quite attacking as well. You didn't often have the cover. Similar to different types of team, but you know, he plays as part of a team that attacks and leaves him quite exposed at times. Some of the one-on-ones he makes are incredible, and some of the points he's saved, Liverpool are phenomenal. And
this is the point. I mean, it's one of those weird things you can play, and I didn't really appreciate when I was playing for Liverpool at the time that I might keep a clean sheet in a game that I didn't do a lot in. And didn't feel like I'd earn it. If your team's that good, you're still part of it in whatever way. If you earn it, you might not keep a clean sheet, but actually make some saves which win the game. And I think this is where Alisson's superb. People ask me who the best goalkeeper in the world is. Well, it's that man there.
And playing in front of him, the boys must have such belief. To play the way they want to play requires having a goalkeeper you trust behind you, and our players certainly have that.
People, you talk about having a goal scorer that's going to score 30 goals. I think it's important having the top goalkeeper, because goalkeeper will win you points over the season. I was fortunate enough to play with Pepe Reina here, who was a top goalkeeper as well, and they win you points over the season. So I think striker and goalkeeper, I think, are the most in 2 positions in the team. Sorry,
and he scores as well.
Well, that's true.
I mean, this guy does everything. He gets assists, keeps clean sheets, and scores. What more do you want?
That is very true. Do you remember how many clean sheets you got for Liverpool? You're good on stats.
No, is the answer. Off the top of my head, I played 200 games. I'm good. I don't know, maybe
I got 74.
60, 65, something like that.
102?
100? No way. Really?
Undersold yourself.
Wow.
Yeah. I'll double check that when we're off there to make sure I've not thrown you an absolute curveball there.
That's including training. Is
it includes
okay?
5-a-side training matches. Yeah. No, but
yeah, I did have. I had a couple of good 5-a-side tournaments. Yeah. Oh God, thank you for that.
Yeah. Again, if I'm wrong now, it's going to be so devastating when I tell JMO later. The opposition today is Brentford. They have been very impressive. They have exceeded their points total already from last season, Charlie. They have a particular way of playing. They don't need a lot of the ball to win games. They are very effective at set pieces. How do Liverpool cope with that today?
Well, try and not get away set plays if you can. That would help. But no, I think he's done a brilliant job, Thomas Frank. You know, coming up from the Championship, stabilising themselves as a club, similar to Brighton, how they want to recruit. And then when you've got somebody like Ivan Toney can score you 20 goals a season, that helps you. So I like the way they play. They've got good energy. They set up, like you say, they don't need a lot of the ball, but in transitions and counter-attacks they are brilliant. Yeah,
Jurgen Klopp very complimentary about them and Thomas Frank ahead of this game, and he spoke about the fact they are so good at set pieces. He spoke about the fact they are so good on the counter-attack. This is a really difficult game here today, isn't it, David?
It is, yeah, and Liverpool found that out at the Brentford Community Stadium earlier on in the season, didn't they, that set pieces can cause problems. I think there's a part where nearly a third of their goals have come from set pieces. However, when you look at what they've got, and you mentioned Ivan Toney, this guy will shoot from 25 yards. And I think that's the point. Sometimes you can go in a game thinking, right, it's just about set pieces, and all of a sudden they surprise you with something different. I think the good thing is, having already played them, having already been exposed by their qualities, that Liverpool will go into this not surprised by what they're coming up against. Again, you add the confidence of the wins that Liverpool have had in recent games, and they think that I'd like to think that they're in that change room going, right, we can beat Brentford. It doesn't have to be a 1-0. It doesn't have to be Ali's 100th clean sheet. It just has to be 3 points.
Tony will be a big threat here today. Brentford will be a big threat here today. How should Liverpool best line up to cope with those threats? Well, time for the experts to have their say. Dave, we'll start with you. Who would you pick if you're Jurgen today? He's got a few injury concerns to contend with, of course.
Yeah, I mean, that's my lineup. Yep. Canate in there, obviously. Trent, Robbo was the one, because Robbo hasn't been starting all the games. Whether he comes in instead of Tsimikas, I think he will. Again, you're looking at a physical threat, but obviously with Robbo's pace. The interesting one again is midfield, where Fabinho, who again has been fantastic. Elliott and Jones. I mean, there's a question mark possibly over Jones, or a question mark possibly over Hendo. So Elliott and Jones would make sense. And up top, again, Nunez in there. I say he's going to score, but I've already allocated 3 goals to Mo Salah. So, yeah, I mean, I think Jurgen's in a good place at the moment. There's a few question marks, but there's not any real issues. I mean, the one person who might sneak in there if he's available is Diaz. And if I can just quickly go on to this, the other thing, and Charlie, you'd have experienced this, Diaz coming back to the first team is great for first team football, but when you've got a player of his quality in training, he adds to quality of training, which improves everyone else. And I think that's the biggest thing, or one of the biggest things for Jurgen, is Diaz being available for training and therefore for selection.
Yeah, and I think just bringing him back into the group, and because he started really well and obviously had this injury and coming now back in, I expect him to play today. I think I'm expecting him to play on that left-hand side with Gakpo and Salah up front, and I think I've gone the same as what you have, David, but I just think that Diaz is the change on that left-hand side. He's a terrific player, good goals, assists, and he's a threat.
Okay. That's the easy part done and dusted. Picking those teams is just that sort of cakewalk. The quiz, though, on the other hand, which we will finish with, as many questions answered between you in the space of 60 seconds, is another matter entirely. Fastest finger first, just shout the answer if you know it.
Are we against each other or with each other?
No, I think a team effort.
Oh, yeah, team effort, yeah.
Depends how competitive you get.
Go on.
You can decide that
after.
Decide at the end. Decide at the end. It's 60 seconds. It can't go for that long.
Is it first answer?
Collaboration. Sorry?
First answer or?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it.
I've got 60 seconds here.
Mo Salah.
I don't want to complicate things even further. Okay. 60 seconds to answer as many questions as possible. Your time starts now. Who scored Liverpool's only goal in this season's 3-1 defeat away to Brentford?
Chamberlain.
Correct. That 3-1 defeat at Brentford in January was the 3rd time Liverpool wore the teal or green 3rd kit. The other 2 games saw them record wins against Ajax in October and which Premier League side on Boxing Day? Who did we play on Boxing Day is a short way to answer that question.
Oh, away. Not you. No.
Fulham.
Incorrect. It was Aston Villa. How many consecutive games Liverpool unbeaten in the Premier League this season?
4.
7. Alisson's clean sheet against Fulham was his 99th for the club. How many of those have come in the Premier League?
68.
76.
So close.
For a bonus point, who was his first clean sheet against?
Second game of the season. Come on. Wolves.
By what score did Liverpool beat Brentford here at Anfield last season?
3-0.
Correct.
Yeah.
And Thomas Frank initially joined Brentford as their assistant head coach in 2016, but which Danish club was he the manager of before
Midtjylland.
then?
FC Midtjylland.
It was Bromby. I'm gonna. How many was two right
none,
between you?
I got none right.
But what I'm going to say there is, in your defence, the question about the kit took half the time, right? So that's unfair. And also, when we did this in midweek, Neil Mellor and Steve Warnock had questions about themselves in the thing. So that compared
It's not like them to talk about themselves, is it?
Well, exactly.
Mo Salah, that's the answer to the next question. That's an extra point, no?
Oh, you know what? If it had been, I would have given you a point for that. It wasn't, though. OK, we'll wrap things up with that bit of nonsense and just point in the direction of what you can see were over the course of this afternoon and this evening on LFC TV. Matchday Live is back with the boys from 4:25 with all the breaking team news ahead of this one. Then we'll have a live audio commentary from 5:30 from Stevie Hunter. And we'll be back with the Matchday reaction show from around about 7:30. In terms of our social content, we'll have free highlights on LFC TV Go from 9:30. Then from midnight on Go, you'll see the full match if you so desire. And tomorrow, sometime during the day on YouTube and Facebook. You'll get the behind-the-scenes content with Inside Anfield. OK, that's us done for now. We're going to take a short break. I'm going to go and check David's clean sheet record. We'll be back for Matchday Live. You can join us then. If you're not able to join us, do enjoy the game wherever you're watching in the world. Goodbye.